I'd like to welcome you to this online worship service of First Church, West Hartford, located in West Hartford Center. I'm Reverend Erica Wimber Avena. I'm the interim senior pastor. First Church is an open and affirming United Church of Christ congregation. Whoever you are or wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. Our building is currently closed to the public due to the pandemic, but the church has never really closed. Ministries live with us where we are. God is with us, although we are not together. Today, I am recording this in our beautiful meeting house, and I have surprised myself in finding that this pulpit is actually the most comfortable space in which to preach. Imagine that. It's like it's built for it. I thought I might try a balcony shot today, but it's really warm over there, and there's no good place to kind of set things up. So welcome to my perspective from the pulpit. If you're sitting on the floor, I don't look this way to you because I'm further away and standing up. I'm using the camera on my laptop to do this. I am by myself in the room today, although there are many people in the building. My girls came with me today because we lost power, like I understand many of you have as well. I'm grateful to be able to come in and attend to the work of the church in this beautiful space. At 11 a.m. this morning, I'd like to highlight that everyone is welcome to a virtual time of coffee and conversation. Our own Eleanor White, our vice moderator, will be leading the discussion while Amy and I are both away. Book groups, prayer groups, fellowship groups, special worship services, faith formation, and other gatherings continue to happen using Zoom or other online platforms. During the month of August, we are hosting a series called Pandemic Voices in Worship, designed to lift up how different groups of people in our congregation are dealing with this pandemic. Today, we will hear from healthcare workers represented by Anna Lumbuno. Everyone is invited to send in photos of red hearts of support or other messages of support for essential workers. They may be at your house or in your neighborhood or in your community. You can email any of those to jim.boratko@whfirstchurch.org. The best way to reach any of us on staff is by email. All of our contact information, as well as the updated programming information, is on our church website, whfirstchurch.org. If you leave a message at the church number, it will be returned as soon as possible. Let me highlight that confidential online prayer cards are available, which Amy Giguère and I attend to. Secure online giving is available and easy to use, or put a check in the mail to the church. Each are received with gratitude. Whether you are a first-time virtual visitor today or a long-time member, we appreciate your connection, your support of this congregation and our ministries, which are so vital in this community. Please join me now in the call to worship. Welcome to this time of shared prayer when we encourage one another in faith. We need this time for reassurance and strengthening for all we face in life. Here we remember the faith we hold in common and find renewal and encouragement. It is often difficult to sense God's presence in the headlines or in our daily contacts. When everyone marches to a different drummer, it is hard to know who is out of step. Bring us together to hear your still small voice so we can recognize you when we are apart.
coming from the Saffron Conservation Area in Tolland, Connecticut. Let us join our voices in the opening prayer. Eternal God, you are present with us throughout our lives, even when others plot to do us harm. May we learn to live together in unity, that in all we do, we may sing your praises now and forever. Amen.
Hello, friends. I am here today to talk about the abundant love of God. And now I'm just wondering, how many of you have a favorite scent? It could be maybe a favorite candle. This one smells like apples. It could be maybe garlic and other cooking things. Maybe you like the smell of coffee. Or even better, maybe you like the smell of fresh herbs from your garden. Maybe you like the smell of freshly mowed grass. Maybe you like the scent of gasoline. We all have a favorite scent that we just love. Now, when I smell something, though, does it make it any less smelly for somebody else? Like if I smell this coffee, does that take away its scent? I don't think it does. If I smelled this coffee and Theo smelled this coffee and every single one of you watching this video smelled this coffee, it'd smell about the same amount, wouldn't it? Now that's a lot like God's love. It is abundant, which means that there is enough for each and every single one of us. God has enough love to go around and we can share it with each other, which is beautiful and wonderful. And just like smelling coffee or herbs or candles, we know that that love does not go away. God will always love you. Thank you, friends.
reading from Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 10, verses 5 through 15. Moses writes concerning the righteousness that comes from the law that the person who does these things will live by them. But the righteousness that comes from faith says, "Do not say in your heart, 'Who will ascend into heaven?' That is, to bring Christ down. Or, 'Who will descend into the abyss?' That is, to bring Christ up from the dead. But what does it say? The word is near you, on your lips and in your heart. That is, the word of faith that we proclaim. Because if you confess with your lips that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For one believes with the heart and so is justified, and one confesses with the mouth and so is saved. The scripture says, 'No one who believes in him will be put to shame.' For there is no distinction between Jew and Greek. The same Lord is Lord of all and is generous to all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. But how are they to call on one in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in one of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone to proclaim him? And how are they to proclaim him unless they are sent? As it is written, 'How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news.'"
Let us pray. Eternal God, you are present with us throughout our lives, even when others plot to do us harm. May we learn to live together in unity, that in all we do, we may sing your praises now and forever. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Tropical storm Isaias has held changes for many of us this week. Isaias, which I learned to pronounce this week, is Spanish for Isaiah, the prophet, that is, the one whom Paul is referring to here in the book of Romans. This is from a larger discourse in Romans, which I have been working through with you this summer, focusing on the questions from the past and how they have implications for the future, for all of us. In Paul's day, this was very important to him and his community. They were particularly concerned about the Jews, who had an uneasy relationship with the Roman Empire. And with the recent events in the life of Jesus, who's called Christ the Messiah, where did that leave the Jews, large communities of Jews who were really a minority group in a small province in the Roman Empire? Paul brings a gentle correction to those who are anxious about the issues of the day. He reminds us that Christ is already present. It is not up to us to save the world. God has already done that. It is up to us to believe that is true and then to live in alignment with those beliefs. We cannot save others by our actions alone. We cannot even save ourselves. What the apostle is urging is an authentic life, a life of faith. We may not be able to change our circumstances, but faith can transform anything. It's a shift in attention from doing to being. Not that the early believers won't be doing lots of things. They went on to do plenty. But what they did was because of who they were, their new identity, who they had become as Christians. In Paul's rhetoric, it is a shift of attention from the boundaries that used to define a circle of believers by the law of God, he says, handed down by Moses, to focus now on the center of that circle, instead, where we see Christ holding all things together. We are called to focus on that center where we do see Christ and live in the mindfulness of the infinity of the widening circle that Christ is calling. This week, Isaias brought power failures, storm damage, inconvenience, heartache, and crises layered on top of COVID-19 challenges and restrictions. Protests are still underway across the country, many of them bitter now. Unemployment benefits ran out last week. Rental assistance is undecided. And this church is in transition between settled pastors. What does it mean in our day, just as Paul grappled with this question in his, to think about what has gone before and how that informs our future? Well, there are literally billboards up about this right now. I'm not sure if you've been out on the highways. How many of us hope to come out of this pandemic better, stronger, more efficient, and maybe even with cleaner basements and garages? For those of us who are well, we've been rethinking what is important to do now, what can be done, what needs doing. There are estimates in business that the pandemic has put us about 15 years ahead with our online capacities and infrastructures, because suddenly it became the better way to do lots of things. There is a hope that we will take better care of our health after this than we did before. How many of us used to try to go to work or go to school while we were sick, or attend important social events with a cold just because we didn't want to let someone down? There is a hope now that social pressure will be different after the pandemic. If we are sick, we could wear a mask or stay home, and the decision would not only be socially acceptable, but the decision would be affirmed. There are hopes in this time. There is a hope politically right now, in this moment, even though we are living in a time of deep division when many Americans have found it difficult to discuss politics, not only just with their family, but with a lot of friends. There's a hope that we may come through these years with a better appreciation of the freedoms that are important to Americans, that we would value these freedoms, and because we value them, we will pass them on to the next generations, providing a heritage that is a blessing and not a burden. The climate crisis is as serious as it has ever been right now, but there are good reasons to be hopeful that we are innovative, learning, and creating. This used to be a concern for just a few, mostly scientists. Now even the smallest child learns to recycle and conserve, to appreciate wetlands and vulnerable species. Good changes have been made, and there are more coming. Family life is certainly changing right now. Successful families learn to adapt to the times they are living in and support each other. They always have. Diversity is becoming more and more recognizable as valuable and not a liability in communities, in education, in workplaces, and yes, the church, which should have known this all along because it's written right in Scripture, neither Jew nor Greek. Paul says that every place he preached, everywhere he went. Our search committee and our transition team have every expectation that our church can and will be better in our future than it has been in our past. Because of the past and despite the past, we are inspired to do better, both. So you see that if we have eyes to see, Christ is already present. It is not up to us individually to save the world. God has certainly already done that. It is up to us to believe that this is true and to live as though we do believe it. We cannot save others by our actions. We cannot even save ourselves. Christ gives us a way of orienting ourselves in the world with faith, hope, and love. And anyone who tells you that that isn't enough, well, you might question their motives. We are living in a time when a tectonic shift is happening. Our era is often compared to a second Reformation, following Martin Luther's Reformation 500 years ago. Our institutions today, like then, are failing and changing. Education is changing, family life is changing, community and society is changing. People are redefining their own identities. This is the same kind of change, same scale of change that happened 500 years ago. And as much as these challenges require all hands on deck, they also require some of us to back off and smell the roses and allow for the answers to be worked towards widely. None of us can solve any of these problems alone, but we can work together. We can encourage one another. We can challenge each other. We can invest in each other. The problems in our world today tend to be isolating for many of us. You may feel really stuck in the clutches of one or more. Paul wants us to see the application to our lives. Our work is just to remember who we are in the world. Forgiven, loved, valuable children of God. He uses body parts to emphasize this. It's as close as the words on your lips and in your mouth. What is written on your heart guides your feet, guides your steps. And only after you remember who you are, then your doing can follow logically from your identity, from your being. In fact, we have to work together for any of these things to happen. There is no way to do them alone. Paul's masterful summary of the gospel is in verse 9. Because if you confess with your lips that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's not a formula, and it's not an achievement to be had. It's a way to ground yourself in your identity as a Christian, as a disciple. It is a life to be taken up intentionally, thoughtfully, prayerfully. And such a life, led by faith, transforms the world. Nevertheless, Paul says, say the word. Say the word. The word is an act of resistance and hope. Amen.
Hi everyone, my name's Anna Lumbuno. I grew up in First Church with my mom Wendy Wigglesworth and my brother Ben. And I was asked by Amy to talk a little bit about my experience during this pandemic as a nurse. So I graduated from the University of Rhode Island in May of 2018 and started as a nurse at Hartford Hospital in August of 2018. So I was about a year and a half into my career when this pandemic was in full swing and really affecting Connecticut and Hartford Hospital. My floor specifically was turned into a COVID designated unit the first or second week in April. And almost immediately we started seeing changes to our workflow and our work days. There were policies and procedures changing almost by the hour. Definitely every day was different regarding what PPE we were wearing, what medications we were giving. Patients, like care plan and what the goals were changing every day as research was coming out. I would say that some of our biggest challenges were that we really felt a little bit more disconnected from our patients than usual. It was sort of a focus on getting in the room, doing what you needed to do, and getting out as fast as you can to expose yourself as little as possible, which is totally different than what we normally do. I would say that on a normal given day, pre-pandemic, I was spending 80-90% of my shifts at the bedside with my patient, and that's kind of what nurses and doctors that work in hospitals take pride in. I mean, we love being at the bedside and being right there to support our patients in person, and during this pandemic that was totally shifted backwards, and it was a get in and get out type of experience. So that was really, really challenging for us. It was also really challenging not being able to have family come in and see their family members and loved ones. There was a lot of communication problems between me and my patients and their family and pretty much everyone. The rooms were incredibly loud. We had big air scrubbers in the room, and you have to scream at the top of your lungs, so that was really difficult for us and really challenging. We flipped half of our floor into critical care beds as well, so pre-pandemic we had 6 critical care beds on our floor, and then in the middle of COVID we had a total of 12 critical care beds, so staffing was a problem. We were kind of fast track training some of our nurses that hadn't been trained in the critical care areas. So there was a lot of learning, a lot of going with the flow, a lot of teamwork. And then I would just say, as a church community, what we can all do to continue to support our healthcare workers, continue to pray for us, think about us, wear your mask, continue to socially distance yourself from other people. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it.
As we enter into our time for prayer this morning, I want to share with you that I heard from a medical doctor this week a comment that we are fighting two diseases as a result of this pandemic, COVID-19 and COVID-19 fatigue. So we lift in prayer all of us who are experiencing one or the other or both, for all doctors and nurses and other medical professionals, for those struggling with mental health, for researchers and developers working on a vaccine, for children and their parents, school administrators and teachers trying to navigate what going back to school will mean for them, for our own First Church Academy for young children, for all continuing to fight against racial injustice, for all in Beirut who are dealing with the aftermath of the catastrophic explosion, for the recovery efforts of all who experienced losses from Tuesday's storm. Let us pray. Almighty God, maker of heaven and earth, we praise you. We bless your holy name as we confess with our lips and believe in our hearts that you are Lord. It is your love that is revealed in the life and death of Jesus. It is your power that is seen in his resurrection, and it is your majesty that is made known by his ascension into heaven to be at your side. Help us, O God, to always keep your power and your authority, your love and your majesty in our minds. Help us live a life of inward and outward integrity, a life based on faith in you. You call us, you claim us, you redeem us, and you love us. Help us to stay centered in you. Guide our actions, our decisions about how we spend our time and our money, how we employ our hands and direct our feet, how we speak and how we think, how we rest and how we do our work. Help ours be the beautiful feet that bring your good news to all whom we encounter. We lift all of the concerns of our hearts and minds, as well as our gratitude and our joy, and we lay them at your beautiful feet in these moments of silence. We now join our voices together as we offer the prayer that Jesus taught, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. There are many ways to respond to God's faithfulness, love, and grace in our lives. We come now seeking to be faithful disciples of Jesus and to respond to God through our tithes, gifts, and offerings. now dedicate all the gifts, tithes, and offerings we bring before the Lord our God in prayer. Lord, with the action of the offering, we recommit ourselves to you. We proclaim again that you are Lord. We offer our lives, our finances, our future. We give you thanks for all you have given us and all we have the privilege to give. Use these gifts for the work of your church, revealing your love and compassion, your mercy and justice, your faithfulness and your grace to the world. We pray all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Hear these words of benediction from Paul in Romans. The word is near you, on your lips and in your heart, because if you confess with your lips that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that all will be saved, there is neither Jew nor Greek. The Lord is the same Lord of all. Amen.